Hi, everybody. This is Lyrata for the Institute for Global Transformation, coming to you with the program Self-Mastery Training via Ageless Wisdom Teachings. We're working with Lucille Cederkranz's book, The Soul and Its Instrument, specifically this time with Lesson 3. And I feel at this point in time, going forward, it's fitting for me to work within this body of wisdom, the way that we handle it as a wisdom group. So I'm taking the opportunity or the time to read this lesson to you out loud. And I ask that as you listen to this lesson, you try to stay away from multitasking, that you give this lesson your all. We are learning about fusion with the soul in this group of 18 lessons. This is probably the most important body of information given with clarity, meditations, and explained each week, paragraph almost by paragraph, so that we are sure that we're understanding it. As I read this, I ask that you simply allow the words to bathe over you, so to speak. Not trying to hold on to anything. This is not a test of memory. We're not learning as we've been taught in school. We're absorbing. You're allowing your deva to absorb the lesson, your devas to absorb the lessons. And then we'll switch and go through it bit by bit. So this is part 1. Soul and its Instrument, Lesson 3. The threefold instrument of contact and the etheric network. The 4 major energies of the etheric body. The 7 centers or chakras of the etheric body. And meditation on the etheric body. These are the headings that will be discussed in this lesson. In this lesson, we shall study the instrument of contact through which the soul must work while incarnate. I shall have to speak generally and in broad outlines in order to cover this very large subject in a few short lessons. Much, then, will not be given and will have to be filled in later through study and meditation as well as experience. I would suggest that you learn to enter that meditative state known as contemplation in order to arrive at an understanding of these lessons. Most of the material given can be defined as seed material. It is up to the student and time to nourish the seed to growth. This must always be the pattern by which spiritual truths are given to ensure the protection of those who are not ready for revelations. Though the time is now when much can be revealed, which has hitherto been hidden, it must necessarily follow the tried and true methods of projection. In this way, the safety of the many is assured. The instrument of the soul is threefold in nature, being composed of three energy bodies, coexistent in time and space. These energy bodies are 1. The mental, 2. The astral, 3. The etheric. I have not listed the dense physical body because it is not a principle. It is a temporary effect of very short duration when observed from the perspective that sees the evolutionary scheme as a whole. It is an appearance or effect of the etheric, which we shall consider now in more detail. The etheric network is the vital energy body that feeds and makes possible the life of the dense body. It interpenetrates all substance, relates it, and holds it in form. It is electrical in nature, being composed of many tiny lines of force, which form channels for the flow of energies throughout its entire system. In the human form, these lines of force underlie and are peculiarly related to the physical body and nervous system. From here, the etheric body interpenetrates every atom of the physical body and extends out some inches from it, varying in distance according to the evolution of the consciousness concerned. It is composed of many classifications of energies, 4 of which we shall consider here. 1. The sum total of energies that govern individual form. It is the type of etheric energy that makes a person an individual. It relates the particles of substance to one another and the central life, causing the emergence of an integrated whole, possible of intercommunication, conscious direction, and coordinated activity. Without this underlying network, the human form would fall apart. In cases of poor integration or gaps between the etheric and the physical, we see the feeble-minded, imbecilic, what have you. The indwelling entity has no adequate contact with, and therefore no control of its dense body. Number 2, the sum total of energies underlying and governing the environment of which the individual is a part. This energy relates people to their families, associates, their locale, and makes most of their daily activities. Their energy is not confined to individuals in the same manner as are the former energies, but interpenetrates the environment in which they live, move, and have their being. The sum total of energies that interpenetrate and influence the nation or peculiar race. This is number 3. The sum total of energies that interpenetrate and influence the nation or peculiar race. The resulting relationships are obvious. And number 4, the sum total of energies which interpenetrate and govern the planet itself and relate humanity to everything therein. A study of the above energies will bring a picture of at-one-ment underlying the appearance of separation. This picture is very important to the student. Therefore, I would advise you to dwell upon it deeply and often. The physical body depends entirely upon the etheric for its appearance of action. It is the etheric network underlying the brain and nervous system that carries the subtle stimuli so necessary to human activity, but rarely considered by the average psychologist. It is the carrier for the mental energy, astral energy, and physical force. Through the medium of the etheric network, the mind impresses the brain. Through this same medium, the astral body, desired nature, impresses the brain and nervous system. Through this same medium, the force necessary to action is fed into the physical body via the nervous system and the endocrine glands. When the etheric body is sufficiently developed, the soul utilizes it to dominate and control the mental nature, the astral consciousness, and the physical body. The etheric body contains within it certain force centers that can be defined as centers of transmission for incoming and outgoing energies. Of the main centers in the etheric network, we shall consider here the 7 major centers and their functions. These are located in the etheric network that extends outside the physical, and from there interpenetrate the physical counterpart. I shall very quickly list these 7 major centers and their obvious function in order that you may arrive at a picture of the etheric body itself. This information is given for consideration, but not for experimentation as yet. Please keep that in mind. Number 1. The head center is located from 3 to 6 inches above the top of the head, extending down into the head itself. It is the center that puts the lower consciousness in touch with the spiritual soul, and in most cases is relatively quiescent. Number 2, the Ajna center. The Ajna center is located between the eyes from 3 to 6 inches outside the forehead and extending into the forehead. This center is relatively quiescent until such time as the threefold personality becomes more or less integrated and can be consciously focused on the mental plane. At this time, the center is activated and plays an important part in the alignment of the soul, mind, and brain. It relates the three in awareness and aids in the creation of a magnetic field of mind so important to the growth of a student's understanding. This magnetic field of mind is used by the soul and the disciple in service to the race. When the disciple nears the third initiation, an interplay of energy is set up between the head center and the ajna, which compels the entire system to reorientation. This last statement is important to those of you who find yourselves in the process of becoming adjusted to the head polarization. Number 3, the throat center. The throat center is located from 3 to 6 inches outside the body, about midway in the neck. It is very active within the intellectual, although not conditioned and influenced by the 2 head centers in most cases. Therefore, all mental types who concern themselves with concrete form, with little or no spiritual understanding, are influenced by energies reaching them via this center, and in turn exert influence via the same center. Very often, such individuals are very narrow-minded regarding things that do not demand their interest, not having the insight characteristic of the active ajna. They are normally methodical, intolerant, and critical. When this center is dominated by the head and coordinated with the ajna center, we see individuals who display a great potential for good, who are dependable and very capable, and who are almost always a powerful influence within their particular sphere of influence. They will invariably use words as a medium of influence, but in a manner totally different than is the case with lesser evolved individuals. Number 4, the heart center. The heart center is located from 3 to 6 inches outside the spine, between the shoulder blades, and extending into the body. This center is an extremely important one in that it feeds the physical body with vital energies via the physical heart and the bloodstream. It also relates the individual intuitively as a soul with the soul of all others. Energies pouring in via this center impel the individual to seek, to establish relationships, and to aspire. A very interesting correspondent can be drawn here for those who can intuit. The heart center corresponds to the physical sun, that which provides the conditions conducive to growth. Think on this. This center, like all others, must be dominated by the head center and coordinated with the ajna to be effective in service. When an alignment between the head, ajna, throat, and heart takes place, a human becomes a creator. In the creative artists of today, we usually see an alignment of the head, throat, and heart. When the ajna center becomes the coordinator, we shall see creative works that will surpass anything known today insofar as influence is concerned. Number 5, the solar plexus. The solar plexus center is located from 3 to 6 inches outside the spine above the waist. The center is active within most of humanity today, particularly all of those who are emotional types. An overactive solar plexus is responsible for all astral phenomena of lower and sometimes higher nature. It is eventually to be dominated and finally superseded by the heart center. Number 6, the sacral center is located from 3 to 6 inches outside the spine, about 3 inches below the waist. This center transmits the creative energies to the reproductive organs and has to be dominated and superseded by the throat center. Number 7, the Kundalini center. The Kundalini center is located from 3 to 6 inches outside the spine, just above the coccyx. This center is the last to be awakened and is lifted to the ajna center at the third initiation. Very little can be given about it at this time, as the consciousness of the race does not warrant the revelation of its mystery. It is analogous to the Virgin Mary and is esoterically called the latent fire of matter. In order to clarify this instruction, I shall list once again the centers with a word symbol of their functions. 1, head center, divine will. 2, ajna center, divine love wisdom. 3, throat center, divine intelligence. 4, heart center, life. 5, solar plexus center, form. 6, kundalini center, appearance. I shall here give an exercise that will stimulate awareness of the etheric and at the same time better the health of the physical. Number 1, focus the consciousness in the ajna center and align with the soul. Number 2, visualize the etheric network underlying the physical body. Number 3, then extend the I consciousness from the ajna throughout the etheric body that interpenetrates the physical. Do this slowly and carefully. Number 4, when the I consciousness has been fully extended into the etheric, speak the words. My etheric body is revitalized and energized. Number 5, withdraw the consciousness back into the ajna and speak the words. My physical body is galvanized into right action. As an assignment, write a report of the results of this exercise and hand it in to your teacher. That completes lesson 3.